Right now, I got a special guest with me, Coach Jason Getz of the West York Bulldogs. Coach, thanks for jumping on with me.
No problem. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one tonight. As we mentioned, York Suburban 5-0 coming to your home court, Coach. And you guys are 4-1, won 4 games in a row. How's the team? How's the vibes going into tonight's big match?
Oh, it's one of those ones where we try to take one game at a time, and kind of focus on that, win the day. But we'd be lying. This is a big game. It's the elephant in the room or the gym. Because I can't. I talk to people and they're like, yeah, that rivalry with Suburban. I'm like, well, it's not really a rivalry. They've had our number here the past few games. I said so, and we've made it close. But if we want to, really take that next level, we got to, kind of put up and show up tonight.
Well, exactly. And, you mentioned you've seen them plenty of times. Obviously, last year's team compared to this year's a little different, but you saw them last year in the district's playoffs. I'm sure some of your players you do. Can you talk a little bit about the leadership coming back? Some of the players that were in those big games last year.
I mean, we relied heavily a lot on Faith Walker last year, and
Yeah.
and being 6 feet 6'1", lanky. I mean, she was able to take over some games. But we had some young players step in, like Brooke Knowles and Cam Forsyth, 2 freshmen last year that got valuable minutes. And you look at like our last game, we started 4 sophomores and 1 senior. So I mean, technically we are kind of young, but I mean they're not. I mean they played a lot of games and a lot's expected of them. But we rely heavily on Reagan Dahl. I mean, she's our senior guard. She's got 4 years of starting in her. But this, like I said, this year's a little different. We've been learning how to play without Faith, and it's a different team and it's a different vibe. And I think in our 5 games we've had 4 different leading scorers. So there's a lot of the shouldering the burden of trying to replace one player like Faith. We're kind of picking up the pieces pretty quickly here, and it's going pretty well.
Yeah, well, I know, looking at the sports shooting stars, preseason all-stars, we had Cam on there, we had Reagan on there, and one of our players to watch is Brooke Knowles as well. So yeah, and reading about you guys doing some study, and you guys seem like you have the next game mentality. Who's going to step up? And tonight you're going to have some players step up, Coach. What's the message to the squad here leading up to tonight's big match?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight, to add a pun in there, being the Bulldogs and all, but it's going to be a fight, and we just got to understand that they're going to come out fighting, and we're going to have some moments where they're going to have a run, and we just got to make sure we limit those runs, we limit our own turnovers, we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, we take care of the ball, and then just keep sharing it like we have been. I think we'll be okay. It's just going to be one of those things is which team makes the least amount of mistakes. We're definitely undersized in pretty much every game we play. We started off with Cedar Crest, and they have the 6'3" girl, I guess, is going to Colgate.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and we had, and we kind of like let that one slip away from us. And I think we played really well. And it's just one of those things where they understand the task at hand, that we're probably going to get out rebounded, but we have to do other things to make up for that, getting on the floor for loose balls. And I mean, Suburban is well coached, and especially defensively. They're going to go out there and they're going to make it, as miserable for us as we possibly can. And we're going to try to do the same thing. I mean, I think the tone defensively, is where we are trying to, like, I guess, insert ourselves into games, being that making teams uncomfortable, not seeing the passing lanes and trying to get out there and use our speed and quickness rather than our height and brute strength.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, I went to Spring Grove, played under Coach Daryl Wildison, who, had a great run, at West York, the girls varsity coach as well, and then played with Jim Kunkel, a coach that you was, helped out with Talk a little bit about, your background. How did you get to West York, and where did you coach out before this?
Well, actually, I coached with both Daryl and Jim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've been here for a while. So I mean, I grew up in the Lewistown area, and then after college, I settled in here at West York, and I was coaching up at Lewistown on the boys' end. We had a pretty good run as I was a junior high coach and assistant varsity coach. But came here and they said, well, we have a girls position available. And then I was like, okay, let's see how that works. And I mean, I don't think I'd ever go back to the coaching boys. I mean, there are a lot similarities in coaching boys and girls, but it's just once you get settled into something like this, the girls listen, they ask a lot of questions, but it's fun to be around the game. It's more, I guess, they more skill driven, than just rather, the boys kind of go in with their athleticism and try to just shoot threes and dunk all the time. But yeah, I was here and I coached under Marissa Rice. I coached under Troy Sowers.
Nice.
And then I left a little bit, went over to Northeastern with Mike Drenchko. We coached with the Lyle twins that, like Autumn had like 2,403 points and her twin sister had 1,700 points. I mean, that was this like showcase of offense every night. Haven't seen I guess when I first got here, I think the McGee twins were at Central. And that was, those girls could fill the basket too. And then I tried to get out of it a little bit, took a break, but then I got back in at West York, helped them out for a little bit under John Schultz, and he won a ton of games at West York too. And then when he stepped away, Jim Kunkel stepped in. I helped him out, and then I have my own daughter that played at Northeastern, and I tried to just get away from it for a little bit and be a dad, but then I got sucked back into it again, and and just one thing led to another. And then, I have my daughter's in college now. I have a son who graduated, and it was a perfect opportunity for me to actually step in and be a varsity head coach and give it the time that it deserves. So that's why 3 years ago I took over, and, I love it. I mean, it's just doing stuff like this, talking about basketball. It's hard to go to the grocery store, you talk to people and say, hey, want to talk about basketball? I'm like, yeah, I'll talk about basketball.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me that I heard a story that you once had a coach against your daughter. Is that right?
Yeah. Being at West York, she was playing at Northeastern, and I told her, I said, yeah, it's fine. I said, I don't want to coach this game. And I said, I'll sit in the stands and just, be a dad. And she's like, nah, I think it'll be fun. So she was playing JV at Northeastern. I was the JV coach, and we played 2 games. I won't say who won both of those, but I think we know.
Yeah.
But it was fun to have, she comes up, grabs the ball, kind of gave me an elbow, and I'm like, well, throw her out of the game for elbow to me. I said, she can't do that. And of course the official was like, isn't that your daughter? I'm like, doesn't matter. I said, we're competing here. And then she went out, and I think she had like 11 points in the first half. And I'm like, and I know that my girls know her. And I'm like, are you just letting her open, just to be friendly here? I said, we're winning the game. I said, please guard her. So yeah, it was an interesting moment. A lot of weird things that happen in basketball. And that was one that I can look back and say that, it wasn't fun per se, but it was an interesting time, and time I enjoyed with my daughter.
That's an awesome story, man. Well, looking forward to it tonight. We got a huge one. York Suburban 5-0 going to the Bulldogs 4-1, the winners of 4 in a row. Coach, I'm telling everybody, get on out there, get there early, show your support. If you can't make it, watch it on Sports Shooting Stars.
We bring the game to you. Contact us, sportsshootingstars@gmail.com.